r/AskReddit. What's an oddly specific fear of yours? That someone is hiding under my car and is going to slice my Achilles tendon when I go to unlock the door. Welp, I've got a new fear now. I shall add this to my collection. I have a phobia that I'm going to go ice skating one day, slip on the ice, my hand will lay out, and someone will skate over my hand and slice my fingers off. Thanks, I hate it. r/Tahi. That I'll die in the shower and my family will find me naked. In 2012 I fell getting out of the shower and broke my back, among other fractures and lacerations. It took me over 2 hours to crawl to my bedroom and slide into a pair of sweatpants I had left on the floor and then go my phone. As I kept passing out from the excruciating pain, what kept me going was the idea that someone would come in, paramedics or family, and find me naked. It sounds absolutely bonkers to say it now, knowing today what I didn't know in that moment, but I swear that's what got me through it. Edit. Wow. I never thought I'd be waking up to 2 gold and 2 silver. Thank you. 2 quick things. I recognize how incredibly stupid my actions were, but keep in mind I was in shock, fixated on the idea of some sort of shame, as opposed to the risk of paralysis. Another factor is that I live alone, and knew no one would likely come looking for me for several hours, maybe longer. I only had a cell phone and it was on the other end of the house. Crawling naked and wet on hardwood floors isn't easy, and since I had to crawl past my bedroom door, the sweatpants were right there, and once I had them halfway on, sliding the rest of the way to my phone was much easier. Open bracket. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've left a room without my phone on me when I'm alone since. For those of you who asked, I'm good now. A week in hospital, and 5 years of physical therapies, including 2 minor operations. But I'm pretty much good as new. Thank you. This is what keeps me going. That people are judging me for the speed of my windshield wipers when it is raining. Not gonna lie, I totally judge other drivers for the speed of their windshield wipers. Seriously, it's barely a fine mist. Why are your blades going a mile a minute? Whenever I got my curtains open at night I always think someone is gonna look at me through the window. No matter on what floor I lay, the curtain stays closed. I woke up one night to hear someone in the dark banging on my bedroom window. After a moment of fear, I hear baby, let me in. It's cold. My drunk boyfriend was outside my house in 15 degrees Fahrenheit weather at 2:30 am. New fear recognized. Then after you let him in and snuggle for a bit, just as you're about to fall asleep, you get a text from your boyfriend, sorry I couldn't come over tonight babe. It was too cold to walk. Becoming schizophrenic. I can't imagine not being able to tell the difference between reality and imagination. Same. Nobody ever plans to become schizophrenic. There was one point when I was worrying about it so much that I worried the worrying would make it happen. I know what you mean here, but I will be devil's advocate and say some people do plan to become schizophrenic and that they have early symptoms, have seen their parents go through it, and have the onset diagnosis. It's not a surprise for many people. Part of the treatment can be having patients learn their triggers of hallucinations, and actively apply coping mechanisms to situations they may expect to hallucinate, high stress situations, and the like. Walking barefoot onto a used syringe needle. Recurring dream for some reason. I think that's pretty understandable. Luckily you have a high chance that any needle you might step on in a pool of water would be long eroded and any disease-ridden blood decompose beyond being dangerous. A simple tetanus shot and you'd be good to go. Stepping on glass is a far more dangerous hazard, as you could sever your toe, slice your Achilles, or worse be stuck out from shore and attract sharks, crocodiles, and other predators. That when I'm walking through natural water, lake, river, etc., I'll accidentally stick my big toe into the eye socket of a human skull. I now have a new fear I didn't want. It's okay, we're in this together. When I walk by those office paper cutters, I get nervous that I might suddenly decide to put my hand in there and cut off a couple digits. It's like the call of the void, but for office supplies. I used a nanny for an old lady who was missing her ring and pinky fingers from her right hand. She was very intimidating and it took me a while to ask how it happened. She just said those two awful words, paper cutter, although she was probably using the ones in school from 70 years or so again. No safety measures taken at all. I hate walking up staircases where the backspace between the stairs is open. It feels like I'm going to slip through. Open bracket. Not a huge fan of stairs in general. TBH. My issue with that is that someone or something might grab me. That my mind will slowly be taken over by mental illness and there is nothing I can do about it. Wait till you hear about depression. Dude, me. 2. Lewy body dementia and Alzheimer's both run in my family. I'm terrified. I can't stand the thought of not being in control of my brain and knowing what's going on. Walking on manhole covers or grates. In my mind, I will step on them, they will give way, and I will fall into the middle of the earth. I step over or around them every time. My husband thinks it's funny to step directly on them and pretend to fall. If you live in the Midwestern USA, the grates you're walking on were likely made by East Jordan Iron Works out of Michigan, and they're old, but damn near indestructible. Because my life is weird, I've seen multiple people take sledgehammers to them, doesn't even leave a dent, and hurts the person swinging the hammer worse. Getting into a car accident with someone who is driving with me for the first time, I would look and feel like such a dong, especially if it was someone I was trying to take on a date. This happened to a guy I was dating. We had just started dating very recently and decided to get some food late at night, so he was driving me for the first time, and like 3 minutes into the trip he got in his first accident. No notable damage to the other dude's car but his got banged up, along with his self-esteem. He was probably distracted by your face. Getting stuck in a chimney face up in a sort of a V shape where you can't really move and die a slow painful death while thinking of your loved ones and crying for help. Change it to cave and that's a huge fear of mine. One of my worst fears. I would never go spelunking. This is one of the worst ones I have seen. https://yauto BYRX7FJM. I am terrified of Big Bird, that monstrosity from Sesame Street. When I was a child, I had a dream that Big Bird murdered Agnes, the sweet old lady who lived next door to my grandparents, in cold blood. He then assumed her identity and started living as her and wearing her clothes and nobody saw through his facade except me. Every time I tried to tell someone that Agnes is actually Big Bird in disguise, he would give me this exact facial expression, which made my blood run cold. Seriously, how can anyone look at that face and not panic a bit? If I'm being honest, sometimes I think of that dream when I'm turning off all the lights downstairs before bed and have to sprint up the stairs because I think Big Bird is behind me wearing Agnes's clothes. Edit. I'm glad I'm not the only one who sees this unholy looking chicken for what he is. I've thanked the people for silver and golden PMs. I knew there was something off about that ducker. Duck you, I just opened that and it's 1:06 AM. Duck that yellow mother ducker. I'll light him up like a Christmas tree. I really don't like if I can't see where something is going. Chains that hold boys scare me, for example. Sounds like you'd really ducking hater/submissianophobia have a pretty weird fear of boys. I just don't like things that are semi-submerged in water, I guess. Everything on that sub makes me flinch. It's nice to know that this is a thing actually. Thought it was pretty uncommon. All of my friends are ridiculously scared of becoming pregnant. 2 of them are gay and in a relationship with each other, though. They wake up in the morning and panic if they feel sick at all or their periods are late, and yet there's no way short of the miracle. Pregnancy terrifies me. Someone I work with was at her desk, and all of a sudden she said it felt like her abs just split apart and started shifting away from each other. That's exactly what it is. Google torn abdominal wall. Edit. Thanks to the 2 users who provided the correct medical term for this, diastasis recti, which had momentarily slipped my mind when I posted the original comment. Yes, this is not something that happens to every woman during pregnancy, and it can happen to people in circumstances outside of pregnancy. Also, it's incredibly painful and uncomfortable. My hand getting stuck in a garbage disposal. I've had this fear for ages, and then that one movie came out where it happened to the kid and I just freaked out. Edit. The movie was unfriended, but thank you to everyone who is commenting different movies so I know which ones to aviate. If it makes you feel any better, you'd literally have to put your weight into your hand and keep it there to actually seriously injure yourself with a garbage disposal. Most likely, you would get hit by the dull blades a few times and just yank your hand back before you got hurt. TBH, that actually does make me feel better. Thanks. I am afraid of crucifixion. No idea why. It is incredibly unlikely anyone I know or myself will ever be crucified. In fact, no one does crucifixion these days. However, sometimes I have dreams of it happening and wake up in cold sweats. It's very strange. Jesus, is that you? Moths and butterflies. Why do they fly around like they don't have a clue where the hell they are going? And why are they so powdery? I am terrified of them. Finally, someone who understands my intense fear of moths. Moths are just the ghosts of dead butterflies. Boiling hot oil spilling on me. Never been around frying oil. Never will. Thanks to work safe ads running in Australia throughout my childhood, I'm traumatized. Edit 1. Because this comment is so popular and is one of my very first. Please take this advice. If something you do at work does not seem safe to do, so do not do it. Ask your employer, manager, etc., not colleagues, how you are supposed to do it with avoiding the possibility of all serious harm until you have a bloody good explanation. If you unsure, do not do it. The moral of the story, you have the right to your own health and safety. I remember one in Canada airing when I was younger. Ducking horrific, and I was terrified of being near like cooking grease ever since. Link https youtube.com watch v equals dbzt8wx2kt0. Lotus pods being photoshopped into things. Like, I remember a picture of a breast with the nipple being replaced with a lotus pod and I just can't handle it. I don't get it. But the grouping of holes just creeps me the duck out. Edit. Spelling and formatting. Trypophobia is horrible. Fellow trypophobic person here, bro. Oh god. There's a name for it and I looked it up. Whenever I'm walking on uneven ground, my mind starts thinking about tearing my ACL. I think it comes from playing and watching football and seeing how easy it is to tear. One misstep and boom, 6-12 months of recovery. Oh man, even when I play video games and a character takes a nice tumble, I can just see them breaking their ankles or tearing ligaments. Ugh. Old men walking in the street and blowing their nose by just holding a finger over the other nostril. Edit. I will never be able to read my Reddit inbox ever again due to the replies to this comment. Duck old people and put some pants on in the gym locker. This isn't Brighton Beach. r/knock and text. I go running regularly. I hate running next to chain link fences. Specifically because I am convinced that I am going to trip, then fall in specific ways so that my front teeth manage to get caught on the fence and be ripped out. I also hate the lower ones since part of my brain is convinced that one will not be bent right. I will run next to it and the wire will hook into my arm. I'm seriously afraid of being pulled under bed by disembodied hands. Specifically mannequin or model hands made of plaster or wood and covered in gloves. I don't know what would happen if they did pull me under a bed, but it's a highly irrational and stupid fear I've had since childhood and the source of recurring nightmares. I also fear dolls and clowns. I don't fear the dolls themselves. It's the dolls staring at me that gets me. Moved to New England from Texas a few years ago. As a child, I always got strep throat. Every year. Brother didn't get it every year, but I did. I hate strep. Then I grew up and am now a teacher. I still get it. Not every year, but still more than my colleagues. I can tell I have it 2 days before it shows up positive on the swab test. It's a very familiar and awful feeling. So, strep can manifest and, if not treated, can eventually kill you. I'm very afraid that I will be snowed in during a huge storm and will have strep, not be able to go to a doctor, and will die from strep, my arch nemesis. The saliva backwash that accumulates at the top of a soda can letting someone drink from a dairy-based beverage of mine. My dad burped into my milk 10 years ago and when I unknowingly went to take a drink from it right afterwards, The smell was horrific. I haven't touched a glass of milk since. These are valid fears. That second story of yours made me gag a little. It reminds me of the first time I ever smelled someone else's burp. A rotating fan blew the burp my way and I was absolutely disgusted. Not as bad as your story though. Airplane bathrooms socked feet. I've seen people walk to the airplane bathroom in socked feet. How would you do on that flight? The stuff of nightmares. I won't let someone hand me something hidden in their palm by making a fist and then dropping it into my hand. If that makes sense. I am not sure what I'm afraid it might be. Edit, thanks for the Reddit silver. It's my first ever. An old dried up human eyeball or two. Dropping my phone on the train tracks, and as I go to pick it up or ask an official for help, a train runs over it. Whenever I walk with my phone near a storm drain or a gutter, I always hold my phone really tightly, even if it's just in my pocket, because I'm afraid my phone will fall in the drain. My friend saw someone do this exact thing, it just slipped out of his hand. I have to clench my phone or put it away before I walk near the drain. Before I lost my virginity, whenever I dreamed about sex I would have intense pain in my right testicle. I was so afraid to have sex for a long time until I finally did it and was shocked when there was no pain. Just 45 seconds of yeah, that was fun and all, but was it really worth all of that? Then after that, sex in my dreams was always painful in my right testicle. Every time before I stuck it in I would always fear a terrible pain in my right testy. When I got engaged and she moved in with me I learned why. Whenever I would pop a boner in a dream and have sex in the dream, I would move my hand down there and squeeze my legs together, smashing my right nut. My fiance woke me up cause my erection woke her up. She turned over and was going to have some midnight wake up sex but then was shocked when I was in pain. After that I started sleeping naked. Now whenever I pop a boner during sleep my body reacts to hers beside me and it's about 50/50 if she will wake me up with sex or wake me up and tell me to go rub one out. That was a ride. 3/10. Undertaker didn't throw mankind off Hell in a Cell. Looking up. Not a fear of heights but a fear of just like. That thought of just going and going and going and the suspense of just going down but it never happening. Holy duck. I was sure I'd come into this thread with something unique. For you, is it exacerbated when you see objects high up, like skyscrapers or fireworks? Revolving doors. I can't handle them. What if I get stuck in there? They're all different sizes. How many people can fit at once? Do I jump in? Will that look weird? If it's not rotating for me, is it motion triggered? Do I push? Will I push too hard and break it? What if I push it too hard and it hurts someone else on the other side? Duck it. I'll go a few feet to the left and take the regular door. I haven't gone through a revolving door in years. Tripping while going upstairs and breaking a tooth on one of the steps. Edit. Rip my inbox. Good lord y'all. Falling or being pushed onto the subway tracks. I've taken the subway in my city since I was a little kid and I won't go closer than 5 feet from the edge until the train pulls in. For a while I had changed trains at one of the busiest stations to get to work. One day I ended up at the front of a crush of people less than a foot from the edge after the previous train pulled away and had to stand there for several minutes until the next one came. I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. Being trapped inside a sinking ship, water rising and nowhere to go. My teeth coming out when at the dentist and they are using the sharp scraper tool. Edit. Dear God, I have even more fears at the dentist now. Thanks guys. I have a recurring dream of someone giving me a paper cut between all my teeth. Birds, except chickens, but they're not birds. They're little dinosaurs. Aren't all birds little dinosaurs? I mean, yeah, but this is about oddly specific fears and I am ducking terrified of birds, but for some reason my brain has categorized chicken as not bird, just dinosaur, so I'm not at all afraid of them. I guess that's an oddly specific thing I'm not afraid of. Dropping my phone in an elevator shaft. Walking barefoot on grass. Stepped on a bee while I was really little. Wasn't fun and I imagine all of the blades of grass are stingers until the prickling feeling goes away when I lift up my foot. Oddly enough, no fear whatsoever if I'm wearing just socks on my feet. Being alone in a big house at night, especially big rooms. I prefer to sleep in the tiniest room possible with all the lights on. I have no problem walking outside in the dark. Wasps filling the insides of my body by eating through the insides of my elbows. A bird impaling itself by its beak into my leg almost happened while I was working outside a number of years ago, and I never knew I was terrified of it until that moment. Stuck with ever since. Very embarrassing. But I have an irrational fear of stickers, sticky labels, stickers, and basically all sticky things. I didn't realize this until recently when my niece put a sticker on my shirt and I was literally crying. Elderly twins. When I was in community college, I took a government class. The course was taught by two professors, Jenny and Kathy. They were twins and clearly 50 plus, dressing in matching clothes, different colors. I wish this was a joke. Oh god. Driving behind a truck or ute with logs or poles or pipes strapped to the back. Terrified of them coming undone and ballum. I'm dead. I absolutely hate singular hairs where I least expect them to be. I don't want hair in my food, hair in my mouth, hair on the counter, hair on the floor, or anywhere that isn't attached to a living thing. I find it absolutely disgusting and I go into a small panic because of it. I worry that I may eat, ingest, inhale, etc. a combination of chemicals or substances that has never been combined before, and the resulting combination will kill me. Injections. Needles in general make me a little iffy, but giving blood is fine. Getting shots is not okay. In fiction, I know which scenes will bother me, but it's hard to describe exactly. I can't watch needles or like sci-fi implants in movies, but stabbing and gore is fine. Surgery scenes get me, but not amputations. I think it's the idea of something foreign being put into bodies. It's not specifically humans either. If I'm thinking about it, it would gross me out with plants or even non-living things, like using needles to inject color for art. Edit. I thought of another one: people in masks that cover their entire faces, like clown makeup or mascots. Going to amusement parks is as terrifying as it was fun. But I became acutely aware my feelings were not the norm at Disney in middle school when everyone else was lining up to meet the characters and I was dodging them. Chip and Dale were especially harrowing because they'd hang out near each other, so I'd escape one and run into another. That the big guy who lives in the apartment upstairs will plop down on his couch and it'll fall through the ceiling right above my baby's crib. Jellyfish. Those tiny clear ones completely surrounding me and their jelly rubbing on me has me terrified and claustrophobic. Years ago I saw an episode of Monsters Inside Me where this guy was doing something outside and a fly flew into his eye. It only made contact for a millisecond, but it was enough for it to lay eggs. After they hatched they started eating his eye from the inside and he was starting to go blind until a doctor figured out what was wrong. Since then I get super paranoid whenever a fly goes anywhere near my face. When I die I want to be buried in big plastic bucket instead of a coffin, but I'm afraid that my family won't respect my wishes. I told them about my desire to be buried in a big plastic bucket, but you could tell they were kinda weirded out by it. Stabbing myself in the eye with a sewing needle. I do not even sew, nor does anyone that I know. A giant boulder falling on top of me and breaking my arm, putting my shirt on over my glasses and scraping my eyeballs, rubbing my eyes too hard and squishing them, something cutting my Achilles heel, stretching and pulling too far and breaking my muscles, stepping wrong and somehow breaking my ankles or knees by bending wrong, bending my fingers back and breaking them, my cat scratching my eye, or giving me cat scratch fever, my chest collapsing, my chest pain getting worse and a rib popping out of place, cracking, or muscle popping through, cracking my neck too far one day and becoming paralyzed neck down, choking alone in my house, particularly on a melatonin tablet or my antidepressants. There are a lot more that I forget about until something reminds me. I just fear a lot of pain. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.